Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to solve Cambridge O-Level Chemistry Paper 4 Alternative to Practical. We have the subject code 5070 and variant of this paper is 41. For the session of October-November 2024, we have 1 hour for this paper. And this paper is carrying 14 marks. We're going to start our question paper from question number 1. Question number 1 is that a teacher investigated the electrolysis of molten lead bromide BBr2. Lead 2 bromide is a solid at room temperature. Okay, we know that lead 2 bromide is an ionic component. It conducts only in the when it is in the molten form. Figure 1.1 shows the operator's teacher uses power supply lamp, and these are the electrodes, negative and positive electrode, and heat is provided, and this is molten lead 2 bromide. Okay, we need to read the question. Name the pieces of apparatus labeled as L and M. We know that these apparatus are electrodes, so we can write it as electrodes. Suggest the material from which L and M are made. These materials can be carbon, graphite, or platinum, so you can write any one of these to get full marks. Moving to part B, describe the appearance of the products at L and at M. Appearance of the product at L. We know that it is negative, so it will attract lead ions, so Pb plus 2 ions will be attracted here, and their color would be shiny gray, silver, solid. And over here at positive electrode, bromide ions would come and their color would be brown vapor, or you can write as orange. Moving to next part, the teacher stops heating and allow the lead 2 bromide to cool. Explain why the lamp goes out. Okay, molten lamp goes out. First we need to see the operators. If you are a physics student, you would be able to understand easily. It means that when molten lead heat is not provided, this would no longer be in the molten state and it will become solid. When it will become solid, it will not allow the charges or free electrons to move through them, so the circuit would not be completed and lamp would not be powered on, as the circuit would be discontinued. So we can write that molten lead bromide will be solidified, and in solid form it will not conduct, so current cannot flow. That's why lamp will go out. So you can write this answer. Moving to next question number 2. Question number 2 is that a student titrates 4 samples of 0.8000 mole per dm cube. Now this is very important information. Now you need to give all your answers in 3 significant figures. Aqueous sodium hydroxide, NaOH with aqueous ethanoic acid. In titration 1, the student rinses and fills a burette with the aqueous ethane dioic acid. Use a volumetric pipette to add 25 centimeter cube of NaOH to a conical flask. Add thymethylene indicator to the conical flask. Places the conical flask on a white tile. Add aqueous ethane dioic acid from the burette while swirling the flask, mixing, adding drop by drop near the endpoint until the solution color changes. The student repeat the titration 3 times. Figure 2.1 show the burette reading from the 2 of the titration 1 and titration 2. Record the burette reading in table 2.1. Okay, first for the titration number 1, the final burette reading would be 21.1, and initially it was at 0.2. You can see from the figure, and the difference of this would give us the volume of ethanoic acid. 21.1 minus 0.2 would give us 20.9. Now for the titration 2, the final reading was 41.8 and the initial reading was 21.3. So you need to subtract it After subtracting 41.8 and 21.3, you get the answer that is equal to 20.5. Now for titration 3, we have been provided with the result 20.1, 20.1, and over here there is no result, so it means it would be 0.00. So initial reading would be at this, and for titration 4, the final and initial reading are given, so we just need to subtract them, 19.9. Lastly, best titration result. From examiner's answer key, we can relate that the two closest value from all those value we have calculated would be considered the best titration result, and we can see that the titration 3 and titration 4 are the closest of any of the two results, so these two results would be considered the best titration result. So in B part, we need to have mark the tick, so we already made it. Moving to question number C, use the tick titration result in table 2.1 to calculate the average volume of aqueous ethane dioic acid needed to neutralize 25 centimeter cube of the aqueous sodium hydro. So you need to take this average of this 20.1 plus 19.9 divided by 2 would give you the average of it. 20.1 plus 19.9 divided by 2 would give us 20.0 centimeter cube. So you can write it in your answer space, 20.0 centimeter cube. Next, calculate the number of moles of NaOH in 25.0 centimeter cube or 0.800 mole per dm cube of NaOH. This is a question of moles, and this is a very easy question. So first you need to change 25 centimeter cube into 1000 into decimeter cube. By dividing it to 1000, you get the answer 0.025 dm cube. Now we have been provided with the consideration, so we can calculate the moles by like that, volume multiplied by concentration, and the volume is 0.025 and the concentration is given 0.800. After multiplying it, you get the answer that is equal to 0.02 moles. Okay, next part, E is that 1 mole of ethane dioic acid is neutralized by 2 moles of sodium hydroxide. Use your answer in part C and D to calculate the concentration mole per dm cube of ethane dioic. Give your answer to 3 significant figure. Ethane dioic acid, I'm writing it as EN, not ES for ethane dioic acid, and NaOH. If you are a football fan or a cricket fan, you would understand what is ES sports. Okay, so over here in the question it is written 1 mole of it and 2 moles of it. So 1 mole of it and 2 moles of it. In above part we have calculated 0.02 moles of NaOH. It means half of it would be here. 0.02 divided by 2, we get the answer 0.01. Now in C part, we calculated the volume of it. Volume is 20 centimeter cube. We need to convert it into 1000 to get our answer in dm cube. That would be equal to 0.02 decimeter cube. Now we have the moles and volume, so we can find the concentration. How can we find? By moles divided by volume. So moles is 0.01 for ethane dioic acid and its volume is 0.02. After dividing it, we get the answer that is equal to 0.500 moles, and you can write it over here, 0.5 mole per dm cube. This is concentration, 0.500 mole per dm cube. Okay, now for the next part, the formula of ethane dioic acid is C2H2O4.NH2O. 100 centimeter cube of the aqueous ethane dioic acid contains 6.3 grams of C2H2O4.NH2O. This is water crystallization or hydrated compound. Use your answer in part E. In part E, we have calculated the concentration, that was 0.500. To calculate the relative molecular formula mass of C2H2O4.NH2O. Okay, we know that we have been provided with 100 centimeter cube. First you need to convert into dm cube. By dividing it 1000, you get the answer, that is equal to 0.1 dm cube. Now you need to calculate the moles. How you can calculate the moles? By multiplying the concentration into volume. And concentration, we have to use the previous part concentration because examiner had said, but you have calculated in E, and E we calculated 0.500. concentration and volume is into 0.1. you get the answer, that is equal to 0.005 moles. But over here our question is not completing because we have to find the MR. How can we find the MR? We can find the MR by using the formula moles is equal to mass over MR. So moles is equal to mass over MR, which we need to calculate. So MR is equal to mass over moles. So you can apply that. Mass is equal to 6.3 is given in the paper, and moles we just calculated, that is equal to 0.05. so I put extra 0.05. After dividing it, we get the answer, that is equal to 126. So our MR for this is 126. Now the next one, this was a very good question. You need to understand this. If you haven't understand in the topic of moles, you need to practice. This is a question that in P4 examiner has asked repeatedly. Now the second part is the link part as well. Use your answer from F part 1 to deduce the value of N. We need to find the water of crystallization C2H2O4.NH2O. Give your answer to the nearest whole number. So we know that their whole mass is equal to 126. So we need to, carbon has 2 atoms and smaller mass is 12. Hydrogen has 2 atoms and smaller mass is 1. Oxygen has 4 atoms and smaller mass is 16. NH2O, and we don't know, but for H2O you know that 2 plus 16, its MR is 18, so it would be 18, and that is equal to 126. Now 2 into 12, we get the answer, that is equal to 24. 24 plus 2 plus 64 plus 18n is equal to 126, and 18n would be left here, and 126. After adding those values, we get the answer, that is equal to 90. Then 18n is equal to 36. Then n is equal to 36 divided by 18. You get the answer, that is 2. So n value is equal to 2. So this was a very good question. We just calculated water of crystallization. This is a complete moles question, a very beautiful question. Moving to its part G, state why the conical flask is placed on a white tile before aqueous ethane dioic acid is added. Whenever we use the white tile, the basic purpose is to identify the change in the color or see the reactions it ceases and completed, so it is easier to look into that. So to observe the color change clearly, we use white tile. Next part H, state why a measuring cylinder is not used to measure 25.0 centimeter cube of NaOH in this experiment. it is not accurate or precise enough, so we use burette and pipette. So this was this is how we have completed question number 2. Moving to question number 3. Question number 3 is usually a question that we require to use the tables that are given at the end of our question paper. So I am taking these sheets out, so whenever I have to use it, I will see how I will use. I will let you know how I use the table. Okay. A student investigates solid Y and solution Y. This is important mention. It is Y and solution. Solid Y is a white powder. So this will indicate this is not a transition element, but only one transition element can be it, because zinc is presence as a white powder. Other than zinc, no other colorful compounds are transition. So except zinc, all there is only possibility if it's a transition, then it would be zinc. Otherwise, no other transition elements could be there. Okay, the test the student does on Y are shown in the table. Some of the observation for this table are shown. So I have already solved it, so I will read, but whenever the test is required. Test on the solid void. Add excess dilute acid to Y in boiling tube. Colorless solution form. The gas produces using lime water. Lime water becomes, so it means carbon dioxide is produced, and this will indicate carbonate ions are produced. So these are the two points to notice. In first part examiner is asking, describe how the gases pass through the lime water in test 1. You may draw a label diagram to help the question. So this was a 1 mark question. I didn't draw the diagram. You can simply draw the tubes and show a delivery tube to show a downward delivery, or you can write simply to get the 1 mark. Acid and solid Y reacts together and gas is produced which turns lime water to milk. Simply you just have described what you have performed the test, and observation was already given. Next part is also from this test, that is describe the 2 other observation that student can make in the solubility dissolve because solution is formed, and effervescence will be observed. So you can write that. Next part, identify the gas produced in test 1. It turns lime water milky, so that's why it is a carbon dioxide. Y contains 1 and 9. Use observation from the test 1 to identify this ion. I have already told you whenever the lime water is produced, it means carbonate ions are involved. So I would write as carbonate CO3 minus 2. Use the observation from test 2 to identify dilute acid that is used in test 1. So observation in the test 2 is white precipitate. So white precipitate is formed when we use sulfuric acid. So we can write our answer as sulfuric acid. The formula for the sulfuric acid is H2SO4 because barium sulfate will produce, and barium sulfate will contain white precipitate. So over here you can see that sulfate ions when react with acidified nitric acid, it will produce white precipitate. It was written in the test 2, it is reacted with nitric acid, so white precipitate is from over here. It is also written that sulfate ion presence of dilute nitric acid react and form white precipitate. Sulfate ion acidified with nitric acid and white precipitate. So we can write it sulfuric acid. Identify the cation Y in Y using the observation from test 3 and test 4. So we need to read the observation. Observation in test 3 is white precipitate, soluble in excess and colorless solution, white sulfate, and you can see that from here you can see that the zinc ions form white precipitate, soluble in excess, giving a colorless solution. That is sodium hydroxide, and that is for the test number 3. And for the test number 4, you can see that effect of aqueous ammonia drop by dawn, it will white precipitate soluble in excess. So white precipitate soluble in excess give a colorless solution. So we will write in our answer, this is the observation for 3, this is the observation for 4, this is for the test 3, this is for the test source. So zinc we have identified would be over ion. Okay, so cation is zinc Zn plus 2. Moving to B part. Solution Z is a colorless. The student thinks that Z contains copper 2 ions. Okay, state why the student is not correct. It is a colorless solution, and copper from the table that is provided in the paper as well, that copper ion should have light blue or blue precipitate. So that's why the student was wrong. The copper 2 ions are blue and light blue. It cannot be colorless. Moving to its second part. Solution Z contains potassium ion. Describe how to do a flame test on solution Z to confirm the identify the cations. So first you need to go on to the flame test, and for the flame test you have been provided in the exam, that is potassium, and it will produce flame color lilac or purple. So you can write, whenever you have to use the flame test, first dip a clean wire in the solution which you want to identify, in this case the solution Z. Then put this wire into a by making into a loop into a Bunsen burner or blue flame or strong flame of Bunsen burner. The color of the flame then turns into lilac or purple. So you can write it in order to get full marks. Next part. Solution Z contains ions of group 7 element. Describe our test and the possible result to identify which group of ion group 7 ion is present in Z. So first you need to find the table of anion. This is table of anion, and over here you need to look of the group 7 elements, chlorine, bromine or iodine, and it will form white, cream and yellow when it will acidify with dilute nitric acid, then silver nitrate. All these three tests are same for 7 group element, but their result are white, cream or yellow. So we need to write acidify the solution with dilute nitric acid. If you do not remember it, you do not need to memorize it, because this should be given in your paper. Acidified with dilute nitric acid, then add aqueous silver nitrate. So we will write, then add silver nitrate solution. Observe the color of the precipitate. If it is white, if it is cream or if it is yellow, then it will show that or indicate that the presence of the group number 7 is in the solution Z. So you can write this as your answer to get full marks. Moving to last question of our paper. Last question of the paper. Argentine is an alloy containing only zinc, nickel and copper. So this is a planning question. Zinc and nickel both react with dilute HCl. Copper does not react with dilute. This is the information that is very important. I will say you read this line twice and very slow. Then plan an investigation to find the percentage by mass of copper in a powder sample of argentine, and copper doesn't react with dilute nitric acid. Okay, your plan must include the use of the common laboratory apparatus, argentine and dilute nitric acid, dilute hydrochloric acid. No other chemicals should be used. So 2 chemicals are allowed in this procedure. Your plan must include the apparatus needed, the method to use to measurement to take, procedure to ensure that the percentage determined is as accurate as possible, how the measurement are used to determine the percentage by mass of copper in the sample. You may draw a diagram to help the question. So I have already written the answer. Apparatus. So first apparatus is argentine powder and then dilute HCl, and these are the only 2 chemicals that are allowed. We cannot use the third chemical. Next is conical flask, or you can take beaker. You need filter funnel. This is easily available in the lab, and filter paper, measuring balance, stirring rod, and any heat source you can use like oven. So but now how will apply or procedure method is that weigh a clean dry sample of a powder argentine and record its mass as M1. For simplification, I am writing it as M1. Add the powdered Argentine to a conical flask. So we need to powder in a conical flask. Then add excess dilute HCl. Why we need to add excess HCl? We need to add excess HCl so it will react completely with zinc and nickel, and no zinc and nickel will be left, and all the copper would be unreacted, would be left over. Then we can filtrate and then we can wait. Okay, so add the powder Argentine to a conical flask, add excess dilute HCl to the flask to fully react the zinc and nickel. Stir the mixture to ensure the chemical reaction is completed. Once the reaction ceases, no more gas bubbles are produced. This is the indication. Filter the mixture to separate the unreacted copper. Then wash the remaining copper residue with distilled water to remove any acid left. Dry the copper residue and weight it as M2. Okay, so this is how we have completed the procedure. How can we make sure the accuracy? Use precise balance, ensure complete drying of copper, and use excess acid so zinc and nickel react complete. So this is the surety that our answer would be accurate. For calculation purposes, we need to apply the formula percentage of copper. Take M2 over M1 into 100. What is M2? M2 is mass of copper and M1 is mass of Argentine. And you can draw the diagram. I'm not the artist over here. I just draw the simplified version. So this is how you get the full 6 marks if you apply this. Even though if you do not draw this diagram, you will get the 6 marks, because examiner have given you may draw a diagram to help to answer the question. So if you complete the procedure, operators, calculations, you will get full mark. So hopefully you get the understanding of this paper. Do practice hard. Your exam is coming soon, and watch this video very carefully and share with your friends and communities who needs help or giving the paper in their next term. And can keep supporting and sharing this video so that our channels can grow, and I will make sure that I will make such type of video more, so every student can get help from this. Or you can join our institute Alif Lam Mim to get live sessions for O level if you need help, or you can ask in the comment section if you do have problem and queries related to this question paper. Thank you so much for watching this video, and keep watching, keep sharing, and keep learning and preparing. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.